that justice in numerous forms has not been met for them. You will go to the courts today, day in, day out, as someone has been there in the quest for justice. You get judges on board. They will tell you there are numerous backlog of cases that need to be addressed. And when you get to these files, you realize there are a lot of things that are being addressed here. What's worse is that these ones that are vulnerable have zero idea of what justice is all about, of their rights, and therefore sometimes you find that in the end they'll be in courts day in, day out. They will be chasing lawyers, they will be chasing judges, but unfortunately they do not get to seek, or they do not get the ultimate aspect of justice. And so today we want to focus a bit on the journey to justice, and get to understand from professionals and from people who are committed to see the aspect of justice seeing the light of day. And so we just get to understand what is this approach that they're taking that is a little bit different, that will enlighten you on your rights and the question of justice, so that moving forward, if something were to happen to you, if there's an occurrence in life that would require legal intervention, then you understand from what ground you start tackling this, so that eventually then that aspect of justice is met. Getting into this conversation, we have Prince Kingori, who's seated right next to me. Prince Kingori is a student of Kenyatta University.
A former student.
A former student of Kenyatta University,
yes,
and a researcher
in
the entity that we're just about to learn about. That is, also we're having Dr. Stephanie, who's part and parcel of it. Dr. Stephanie will be telling us about this, Conrad adventure. It's called Conrad what? Let me see. Adventurers. This is German.
Yes, it's German. Konrad Adenauer Foundation.
All right, it's a bit of German, so you would understand me. I have learned a bit of German, but I'm not so big on it, because whom will you talk with when you're right here in Nairobi? So we'll be getting to understand some more on this foundation and what exactly it does. But also Dr. Faith Kabarta, Dean at Kenyatta University Law School, is as well here with us. Then when you hear it's a law school, you understand that justice, is a question of law. And so that's why we're getting to this conversation. Journey to justice.
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having us here. It's a great honor to present our film project here. My name is Stefanie Rothenberger. I'm the director of Konrad Adenauer Foundation's Rule of Law program for Anglophone Sub-Saharan Africa. And we are a German political foundation promoting the rule of law, human rights and democracy all over the region.
Why Anglophone?
Anglophone, because we also have a Francophone office in Senegal.
Okay.
We cannot cover all the region from Nairobi. So the film project is a project that is very close to my heart.
Perhaps we should have started by saying that there's a film project, which I did not.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay, so we are here to present a very particular film project today. It's a film project on access to justice, and the title is Journey to Justice. The project is about two environmental landmark cases here in Kenya, where communities stood up for their rights and were successful before court. And these cases are so exceptional that we thought it's worth it to show it to a greater audience, and to really make people know what other citizens can achieve by really, standing up and fighting for having their rights enforced. And this whole idea was born. I have arrived here 1.5 years ago to take up my new position, and I actually read in a German newspaper about an outstanding public interest litigation case here in Kenya. And so when I came to Kenya, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to bring cases like this to a bigger audience. And I met a great filmmaker at the Berlin International Film Festival who was on it immediately, and then I needed a really strong, committed Kenyan partner, and this partner I found in Kenyatta University Law School.
All right, Kabarta, Dr. Kabarta, thank you so much for creating time to be with us here. And I mean, that presentation probably not the only foundation that deals with the question of justice, you know, with the numerous existence of NGOs and civil society entities in the country, then one would want to do due diligence, proper scrutiny to understand why then you would confidently want to put the brand Kenyatta University to work with Dr. Stephanie. How did this happen to a level where there's that confidence that indeed this is a project worth investing in?
Yeah, thank you very much. When she approached our school with the idea of the film, to me as a person it was fascinating because as Kenyatta University, our greatest pride is our students. We say that we have some of the best students in the country. So we knew that we had a pool of students that we could put to work on the film to deconstruct, you know, complex legal principles for ordinary people, and also to be able to document the agency of people in exercising sovereignty as it is in Article 1 of the Constitution. And also it was a new idea, an unprecedented initiative, in the sense that when we talk about law and when we talk about awareness creation, we always see it in some traditional and conventional forms, in the form of a baraza, in the form of, you know, going out and speaking to people. But this one, the idea of a film, the fact that it would have more, it would reach more people, and also the fact that it would be ordinary people telling their own stories, narrating how they were able to get justice. That was fascinating for me, and in that sense we were willing to put our time and also our students to walk the journey with the Conrad Adenauer Foundation.
Right, okay, yeah. Conrad Adenauer, I finally get it. So here we are, Kingori, and you are part of this. You say you are a former student, School of Law, Kenyatta University?
Yes, yes.
All right, and so you got into this program while in school or after?
I got in it when I was still at Kenyatta University. I was about to graduate. Okay. It was early last year, at around April, and that's when Dr. Kabata and the faculty members at Kenyatta University asked me, among other students, to come together and put our brains together so that we can try and help the community around Kenya. I think part of Kenyatta University School of Law mission is to integrate theory of law with the community needs. So this was an incredible opportunity really for the students to see how the law applies on the ground. And what we realized is that the community really suffers with lack of access to people who have the information about what the law is, what is the avenue to use, and most of them end up having to fight for themselves. So this was a journey to help us understand how the communities can fight for themselves, and then through this film we put it out to other communities that even you can do it by yourself, and whenever you start fighting for yourself, it means that other partners will come to support you. And we went to Turkana, and we also went to Lamu. I think in Lamu, the main issue was the LAPSET project. Everyone knows about the LAPSET. We all think about infrastructure every time we hear in Kenya there's a new road, there's a new port that is being built, but we really don't think about the social impact of these projects. So we went there to find out how has the community been impacted, and we found that their rights have been violated. They claim that they cannot get fish from the ocean because the whole port construction has really destroyed the ecosystem in Lamu. In Turkana, we had a team of 4 students who went there, and what we were looking at is actually at a project that is not within Kenya. It's a project happening in Ethiopia, but the repercussion is in Lake Turkana, all the way down. So we wanted to understand why is it that we don't hear about this, but the people are really suffering. And now after we get that information, our role was now to take the law and discuss and put in a script that when it's made into a film, it can encourage other communities around Africa as part of Konrad Adenauer's African agenda and philosophy.
But just how many of those that are in Turkana will get the advantage of probably getting to see this as a film and understand some more? How do you get deep into making them know that it's beyond this film that we're presenting, beyond this documentary, you know, there's everything, this is how you handle it. How about we watch that trailer and then we come back, expound some more. All right.
TV47 Country Ride brings you the great country music entertainment show. Dust your boots, put your hats, and ride the night with us.
Up from San Antonio.
Yes, from all regions in Kenya. Country Ride gives you the best musical experience to you and your family.
She's the lead.
Bring out the best of country magical moments by celebrating our fans' music, powered by DJ Stiga and host CK the Cowgirl.
Watch the Country Ride every Sunday, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Only on TV47, the home of great entertainment.
Let's ride to the night together.
This is The Grind. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. T.S. Eliot.
So I decided, let me just take this up, put the teaching on hold first. Let me try see where this can go.
I mean, the opportunities are a lot. But is that all?
Right of that, we call them common wananchi, has to be fought for. Yes. And I ask myself, until when? The journey to justice is one that does not begin today. Is one that has been fought for the longest time, I know, since, independence and all that. What makes you think that this program is going to bring a different aspect to it? That this, documentary, that this film will be seen, will be watched by many, and it will create that impact that is set to create?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when I arrived here 1.5 years ago, I had this idea in my luggage, and I talked to many members of our network. So Konrad Adenauer Foundation, we have an excellent legal network in Kenya and in the region, and I got very good feedback, and people really told me, legal practitioners and experts, do this project. There is nothing like this out there. And so I decided, okay, let's kick it off and let's start it. And we also chose a subject that matters to the whole region, because this is Konrad Adenauer, the Rule of Law program, is not just a Kenyan program, we cover the whole region. So I would like this film to be watched throughout the region. So we chose environmental justice, because this is a problem, a subject that is really of core importance for many, many countries in the region, not only in this region, but worldwide. And also, I think we brought really important legal practitioners and important voices to the film. You see, we have former Chief Justice David Maraga. We even brought the president of the East African Court, and we brought voices involved in the cases, the advocates and community members involved. So I think there is a lot of authenticity in this film. And also, you asked before, how will people in Turkana and in Lamu get to see this film? We will not only have a film launch here in Nairobi, but we will bring the film to Turkana and to Lamu and have screenings there, because we want all the people on board, and we will try to bring it to the region.
And so we'll be having constant filming of different matters?
So if this film is a success, we might continue similar projects on other legal matters.
What will it take for it to be a success? We take a short break and then we come back to that.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. Want to know? TV47 Country Ride brings you the great country music entertainment show. Dust your boots, put your hats, and ride the night with us.
Up from San Antonio.
Yes, from all regions in Kenya. Country Ride gives you the best musical experience to you and your family.
She's the lead.
Bring out the best of country magical moments by celebrating our fans' music, powered by DJ Stiga and host CK the Cowgirl.
Watch the country ride every Sunday, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Only on TV47, the home of great entertainment.
Let's ride to the night together.
This
Of Untold Stories.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast, and still in studio, Dr. Stephanie, Dr. Faith, as well as Prince Kingori, as we speak of the aspects of justice and how it is important that you at the very level of the ground would understand your rights and know how to go about it in the event that they are flouted. And so, Dr. Kabata, we speak of this film that really appears promising. And Dr. Stephanie would say that if this one is a success, then we might continue with, this film, this documentary, and, we touch on different other matters. What will it take for us to make this one a success, understanding the Kenyan legal matrix?
Yeah. So far, we could maybe say that maybe 95% we are successful because we have managed to document the voices of ordinary people, and that will be used to demonstrate to other Kenyans and also to people in the region and to Kenyans much more, because we will be telling them that you actually are the people with sovereignty. You're the ones that are in charge of your rights, and actually the law has given you the tools to assert your rights. So if we are able to pass that message and pass it effectively, then we can then focus on other issues where we pick other topical issues and also help Kenyans deconstruct the law, but much more giving agency to ordinary voices on how we can use the law as a tool to assert our rights.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so, Prince, in your research, process, then one would want to, and I'm sure you probably have had the urge to understand, why is it that the people there, do not quite understand their rights, do not quite understand the law as expected? Is a question of, ignorance, is it that there's no proper civil, civic education? Is it that people really do not care? Is it that they probably do not go through these cases that you find their rights are flouted, or what exactly?
I would say two things. One, it's not that the people don't know, it's that the people don't have access to the resources to get access to justice. The resources needed to get justice are quite significant for most communities. You go to places like Turkana, these are people who don't have access to television, they don't have access to radio networks. So you see that they understand some things, they understand their pain, but yet they don't have the resources to put it out there.
Okay.
But the issue really is, and I think the obligation is on people who we have the knowledge and we have the resources to reach out to these people. It is our duty to ensure that we communicate information to the local mwananchi in the simplest manner possible. Because when we went to the ground, we knew that we went, for instance, to Lamu. These people, they don't know, for instance, the Constitution has an article on environmental rights, but they understand that they need their environment to be clean, they need their environment to be protected so that they can be able to fish, they can be able to cut mangrove, which they use to build their houses. So that crude understanding is what they have. What they lack is the resources to access the justice. So through this film and many other, and I think the Fourth Estate has really been helpful to these communities, and I want to applaud TV47 and all the media in Kenya, because whenever the media hears a story happening somewhere, you go and report it, and that triggers action from other institutions like Konrad Adenauer and other civil society groups.
Dr. Stephanie, we have been huge, and when we're talking about these societies right down on ground, they have been so huge on the local mechanisms of attaining justice. They will tell you they will go to the elders and this is going to be sorted, sometimes not in the best way possible, but to them that's the ultimate way of getting justice. How do we get this mentality off? How do we get them to understand that, you know, there is a constitution that takes it beyond, and that you don't have to struggle? And sometimes I will tell you, I don't want to imagine that I'll go to Nairobi to have my cases addressed, this issue of land and everything. How about I just get a legal officer here or the chief down here and this is addressed? How do we get this off their minds? Because the films they can watch, you know, the documentaries they can watch, but it takes so much in terms of shift of mentality.
Yes, yes. That's a very good question, and actually that's a topic Konrad Adenauer Foundation's Rule of Law program works on intensely, to really get citizens on board and to raise their awareness of what their rights are. Because you, in Kenya, you have an excellent constitution, you have a fundamental right to a clean and healthy environment. Not every country in the world has that. Not even Germany, not even us, we have a fundamental right to a clean environment. So I think it's very important to spread the knowledge. The film project is one of these projects. We do other projects. For example, we publish booklets on the human rights bills of selected constitutions here in sub-Saharan Africa. Kenya is among them. We had, for example, an essay competition on the fight against corruption with high school students, and we got very positive feedback, you know, just to get citizens involved. And with this film, maybe it's important to mention that it's not investigative journalism, but we really, in the end of the film, with our students who are the narrators, we really have a whole list of lessons learned. You know, what do you have to do as a citizen? What do you have to be aware of to really have your rights successfully enforced? And what is also important is to show positive role models, because these people, in a way, they are real heroes. You know, they stood up for their rights, and they can be a model for other citizens in this country and in the whole region. And maybe with a film like this, a concept like this, if we can contribute to positive change in a good direction, I think then we can already talk about a success.
Some will tell you they have knowledge of their rights, and that they even have lawyers in their families, and therefore before it hits home they have a general feel like they would be able to have some of their problems addressed, only to realize that it's not as easy to get justice. And I think that's the reason why I started by saying you will see them in courts day in, day out. You will hear every, you know, Chief Justice coming in, or every, you know, our judges, you know, the ones that are coming in, saying that we have a backlog of cases that we actually want to address. It is one thing to understand your right. It is one thing to put up the fight, but it's another to see these clauses and these laws implemented, to see it that in totality the historical injustices of the question of land are addressed. So while they watch this and they understand their laws, what will it take again to make them have the confidence, you know, in the laws that have been set to address their grievances?
I'll go back to what the former Chief Justice says, that he says something like law is never, rights are never given, you have to fight for them. Yeah, we have a very good constitution as Kenyans, and I remember back in 2010 or 2009 when I was a much younger lawyer and I saw the Bill of Rights, and I thought, now this is it for Kenyans, we probably will not need to agitate anymore. But the fight continues. The law is written, and as lawyers like to say, the law is very clear, but even in that, you know, clarity of the law, ordinary people are still not enjoying what is provided for them in the Bill of Rights and in the Constitution. And what that means is that the fight must continue, because rights are also a contestation between the people and their state, and the state is always encroaching towards, you know, the individual space. So it means that we always have to be in some form of fight to assert our rights. So what is important is to let communities know that the law as it is written, the text of the Constitution, is the tool that they will then use to continue the fight and to assert their rights, and also to bring up a younger generation of lawyers that is willing to be part of that fight, because there are other avenues of the law that lawyers can venture into that would not necessarily require them to be in the fight, to be in the trenches, working with communities. So that is also important, and in my view, this is what this is the greatest contribution of the film in terms of environmental justice, removing Article or making Article 42 practical by showing that much as it exists, you have to push government officials to protect the environment, and it is a real journey to justice, in the sense that it will involve going to court. It will also involve other strategies that communities and ordinary people will have to take to assert their rights, because the community in Turkana and also the community in Lamu, over and above the court cases, they did a lot of things. There were demonstrations, there were dialogue among themselves and with their elders and with their leaders, even as they were using Article 42 to assert their environmental rights.
Okay. Yes, King Ori.
I think to add on what Dr. Kabata has said, I think an important lesson we learned is that even in the two cases, the outcome was given by the court, but we haven't seen the enforcement. Okay. For instance, in Lamu, they were given compensation for about 1.7 billion Kenya shillings to the fishermen. Up to date, they've never seen that money. The government, of course, appealed, and that case is pending in court. But you really see that there is also a struggle beyond the court. Okay. So our advice to the community is, don't stop at the judgment. Don't say we have the judgment, we are happy. Go on to say, now we want this to be implemented, and use other means, including your political rights, to demonstrate, to talk to all these people, use all diplomatic channels to tell the government to enforce that judgment. Because if you don't do that, the government will just sweep it under the rug, and you won't get outcome after all. You just say we have a judgment here and we are happy.
Well put, well put, Asante Sana. Dr. Stephanie, as we come to a close, what more beyond this documentary? You have told us how, the Konrad Adenauer institution was born, but then again, we'd love to know, how far does it, go beyond the current project?
Of course, we will continue our work. We have been actively promoting the rule of law and human rights here in the region since 2006. And we work with experts from the judiciary, from academia, and we will continue this work. This film project is just one of many of our projects. But of course, our work relies on very good partners as well. And I'm so happy to have Kenyatta University on board. And if we maybe come back to the success of this project, that will not only start when we will bring out the film on Monday, but we have been working on this project for more than a year now. Okay. And with the Kenyatta University law students, they are so committed. I went on one of the field trips with them, and I talked to them after that, and I think there we already have created some impact. And there is such a lot of enthusiasm about environmental justice and environmental law, so maybe we have some environmental lawyers of the future there. So our work it will continue, and we are very enthusiastic about our projects, and you will hear from us in the future.
Without doubt. All the best. The director of Konrad Adenauer Foundation, Dr. Stephanie. The other one is a tight one. So I think I'll leave it at Dr. Stephanie. Yes, thank you so much for speaking to us. Rothenberger, right? Yes, Rothenberger. Right. And if I may tell you, you can follow the the launch. We have a live stream on Monday at 5:30, and it will be on
KUTV.
Oh, and KUTV, yes. All right. That's well. Thank you so much. You might as well, we'll try to coerce you to bring the same to TV47. I know it's not too late, right? Because after all, this is for everyone, right?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ari, and Dr. Faith Kabata. Dr. Faith Kabata, Dean, Kenyatta University School of Law. Asante Sana for speaking to us, as well as Prince King Ori. Thank you so much. All the best in this. Pretty